Stampers, welcome back, and this tutorial is going to help you to put together your beautiful card box with coordinating cards. Now let me show you the box first. This is the box, and it's a great box to make because it has reinforced walls. Okay, so all the walls on the box and on the lid are double, so it really is a strong box that will hold up to lots of opening and closing. I will also do a tutorial on the how to make the card. Very simple card, but beautiful and coordinating with your box. Alrighty, so if you want to grab out of your pouch, if you've done them all in order, you should only have a few things left in your kit. There should be two pieces, a Highland Heather and a Gorgeous Grape that were not in any of the plastic bags. They were just too big. Those should be in the back. And then there should be a plastic bag labeled cards and card box. And this has all the cardstock and the envelopes that you need. Remember, we don't cut your DSP because you have your pack of DSP and you can choose which of the designs you would like. And on the PDF, it gives you all the information you need to know what dimensions those pieces of Designer Series paper are cut at. Alrighty? Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started on our final project. I'm going to start from scratch just to show you how I used my scoring tool to score all my cardstock, just in case you'd want to make another box of your own. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this. To make the box bottom, let's start with the bottom first. Okay, we're going to use a piece of Highland Heather, and this is cut at 8.5 by 9 7/8. All right, and the reason the we're using some smaller dimensions is because we like to make the scoring easier for the box. So the scoring for this box bottom is going to be 1 inch and 2 inches, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides. So I'm going to turn, just rotate my paper, and I'm going to do 1, 2. Okay, rotate again. 1, 2. Rotate again. 1, 2. So this should be the paper that is in your kit. Should look just like this with all those score lines. Okay, let's go ahead and score the lid as well while we have our scoring board out. This piece is cut at 7 1/16 and a tiny little bit more, and 8 7/16 and a tiny bit more. All right, so don't worry about those tiny bit more because your paper will be cut just as it should. But the reason we do that is so that the lid will be a little bit larger, but not too large, so it will slide onto your box, but it won't be so loose that it will just fall off. And then on this, we're going to go ahead and score at 5/8 and 1 1/4. And we're going to do that on all 4 sides. So we're going to rotate here. 5/8, 1 1/4. Okay, and the reason we're doing 2 score lines here is because we are going to be making that nice reinforced sides on our box lid. Okay, so we're 5/8, 1 1/4. Okay, so those are all our scoring lines. This is what your pieces of cardstock should look like straight out of your project kit. Okay, I'm going to work on our bottom first. Okay, as always, I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to crease all my score lines. This breaks up the fibers in the paper right at the places you want your box to fold, and by creasing it with a bone folder, it just makes it easier to kind of manipulate when you're putting your box together. All right, I think that's all. There we go. All right, so what we have here is a small rectangle, bigger, bigger. So it really looks just like 3 rectangles kind of on top of each other. Okay, if you look on your PDF, you'll notice find it here. There we go. I always include a picture of what your cardstock will look like before you glue it together and after you do your cutting. All right, so you can always refer to that if you're not sure how to do the cutting, or you can just refer back to this video. All right, so I'm going to turn it in the portrait mode. I'm going to turn it over on this side because the lines and creases are much easier to see on this side. All right, so what I'm going to do, holding it in the portrait position, I'm going to cut up on all the vertical score lines through the first horizontal score line to the second. Okay. Okay, so we have these 4 little flaps hanging here. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to completely cut off the 2 outside squares on both sides. Okay, and then for this one, we're going to cut off the bottom portion because this flap is going to fold inside the box to hold the sides together. Then I'm going to go back with my scissors and I'm going to wedge, as I always like to, all of my flaps so things fit together more comfortably inside the box. But I'm also going to cut a little bit of cardstock off the edges of that flap as well. And this one here, because those are going to fold down into your box to create your reinforced lid. I'm sorry, reinforced bottom and lid. All right, that's what you're going to do there on the bottom. Now I'm going to move and I'm just going to turn it the other way, upside down in portrait mode again, and I'm going to do the exact same thing again. Okay, I'm going to cut up through to the second horizontal. I'm going to completely cut off the outside squares. Then I'm going to cut off just the bottom square here to create our tabs. Okay, what do we always do to tabs? We're going to give them a bit of a haircut along the corner edge, so they'll fit in a little bit more nicely. And then finally, we're going to take a little off our reinforced sides of our box, just so all that stuff will fit into those corners a little more nicely. All right, there you have it. There is the template as pictured on the PDF. Now we're going to go ahead and put it together. Very, very simple. This is the inside of our box, so I'm going to turn it on the outside first. I am going to use Tombow, but you certainly can use the Seal Plus, or you can use Tear and Tape. Okay, you're going to put a little bit of glue or whatever adhesive you choose onto those flaps. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold that flap down and place it behind the side panel. I'm just going to hold that for a minute to make sure it doesn't move. And as I'm doing that, I can do the exact same thing on the other side. Let's flip it around in my hand. Okay, and I'm going to fold that up. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that lines up along the edge there as well. Holding it a little too close. Sorry, guys. So those two are glued in well. Okay, now don't do anything yet with this panel. That's going to be our reinforced side. We'll get to that soon. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn it on the opposite side and do the exact same thing. Fold in the tab and behind the other panel, line up the fold with the side of the panel and hold. And same thing over here. Tombow gives you a little bit of time to move things around if it's not exactly where you like it, but then it also dries pretty quickly. Okay, now I'm ready with my reinforced sides. Okay, these sides are now going to fold into the box to make the walls of the box extra strong. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Tombow and throw it in the box. And I'm just going to put a little bit on each of these reinforced sides. Okay, then I'm going to start folding them down. Okay, I'm just going to fold it down, and I'm going to grab my bone folder and really give it a good crease just to reinforce it. Can't find my oh, there he is. Okay, I'm going to take my bone folder and just run it along inside just to make sure it has a nice crease and it's all sticking well. Okay, then I'm going to go to the other side, and you'll notice that not only is it giving it a reinforced wall, but it's also covering up those two tabs that we glued in to give it a little extra strength in holding together. So I'm going to fold that down, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and just rub across. And it gives it a nice fold, and it really makes sure that the glue is adhered well. Now we're going to do our side. Same way, fold it down and pinch. Grab your bone folder. Rub it up and down. That thing's not going anywhere. Okay, last one. Fold it over and down. Grab your bone folder. Just rub it so that the glue has a chance to adhere all over that strip. And then I like to go around and make sure it's all looking good, but that looks pretty great. All right, so there is my box bottom. Okay, pretty simple. All right, let's go ahead and grab the piece for the top. Okay. Now this is what we cut and scored together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, as I did before with the bottom, I'm going to score and crease all the score lines using my bone folder. He's a little noisy today. There we go. All right, 2 more folds, and we're actually going to repeat the exact same process we did with the bottom of the box. All right, do you remember what that was? We're going to put it in the portrait position, and we're going to cut up all the vertical score lines to the second horizontal score line. Okay, we're going to cut off the outside squares. Then we're going to cut off one of the other squares. Okay, these are now going to be your flaps. So we're going to go ahead and give them a little bit of a haircut so everything fits nicely and they play well together inside our box lid. Okay, let me cut this one a little better. I think I didn't. There he is. Didn't cut him totally off. There we go. All right, so we're going to turn it upside down. We're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, you're going to be able to make these boxes in your sleep after listening to this, huh? Okay, I'm cutting off my outsides first. Then I'm cutting off the bottom portion of the flap that's left. Then I'm going to do my wedges. That's all. I'm going to wedge this here while I'm here, and this here while I'm here. And that is it. That's how easy that is done. Okay, I want to go back over this one. I'm not happy with how I cut this guy here, so I'm going to come back and do a little bit more. All right, now I'm ready There's a picture of this template as well on the PDF if you want to check and make sure, but it's exactly the same as the other. And I'm noticing that I didn't do my little wedges here, which we want to make sure we do, because there's lots of paper coming together in the corners when you're making a box with the very strong walls. All right, so let's go ahead. What's next? You guys know we're going to turn it so that we're laying it. This is the inside of the box. We're going to lay it on the outside, so the outside is showing. And we're going to go ahead and put that adhesive of choice on our flaps. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold the flap down and place it behind the box and hold it for just a second. And then I'm going to turn and do the other one on the same side. You're trying to make the folded tab line up right with the side panel of the other portion of the box. Same thing over here. Just let the top sections go because we're going to deal with those after we finish getting this part together. All right, last flap. All right, now we're ready to adhere down our sides. So I'm going to kind of fold those out. Oops, this guy didn't want to stay. There we go, that's better. And I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the inside of the top part of these panels here, just like I did with the bottom. And we're going to adhere them just the same way as well. I'm going to turn this down here and using my fingers pinch along the side. Then grab my bone folder. Push down so that Tombow can get a good hold. And you want to have a nice hard fold right there. There's the one. Now we're going to go to this one. Fold it down. Come back with my bone folder, pushing it down so the glue stays and that side stays put. Last two. One more after this. The bone folder really helps with the keeping this thin and also helping to make sure that this side is adhered well from one end to the other. We don't want our box falling apart when our recipient gets it, do we? All right, so there you have it. There is your reinforced lid. Very easy, and that slips very nicely onto your box. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and decorate our box. All right, you will notice on the PDF, it gives you the sizes for the pieces of cardstock and DSP that go on the top. You should have these two already and cut and ready to go from your kit. And then you can decide what color from your designer series paper you'd like to use for the lid of your box. All right, so let's go ahead and start layering here. I'm going to start with the Old Olive. And that goes right on the box here, giving you a nice little border of the gorgeous grape around the edge. Then we're going to take a piece of the basic white. We're going to use some adhesive on that. And that is going to go right on top of your Old Olive. Okay, the border on this piece will not be as big as it was for the gorgeous grape. Just wanted to rim the designer series paper with a little bit of the white cardstock just so that it would pop. And I think it really does. And then this piece is the last one to layer. And I just think that is gorgeous. So beautiful. All right, well, let's finish it up with our little embellishment here on the side. I'm going to grab a piece of basic white. Let's see, where did I do that? Got some basic white paper, cardstock, I mean. Okay, just going to use this, and I'm going to go ahead back to my Memento ink. Now this is if you have option 2. If you chose option 1, you will find something in your stash that works just as well, and you can stamp it onto your scalloped oval. Okay, I'm going to grab my blends. Now, if you chose option 3, you have all the blends that you need to color in your image here, or you can find the blends or any other coloring tools you might have, and it will work just as well. And then I'm going to color in my leaves with my Old Olive. This is such a cute little sentiment. I am in love with this one. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my double oval punch, and I'm going to punch this out using the scalloped oval. There you have it. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals that are quickly running out here. And I'm going to put that on the back of my cute little scalloped oval. And then I'm going to place that on the right hand bottom of my box. Love. All right, so there is my box. Okay, now let's grab one of the cards out of here and I'll show you how easy these cards are to make. Okay, there is the card. All right. You should have all the materials in your pack that you need to make this. Remember, you're going to have to cut your own DSP, whatever design you choose, and to make your front panel there. All right, so first thing I have is my piece of Gorgeous Grape, and I'm just going to fold that over, use my bone folder, and there we have our card base. Okay, the next thing we have is a piece of the Old Olive, and that should be in your kit, and that just layers right on top of that, and you'll have a little bit of a border around that you can see that Gorgeous Grape peeking through. And that goes right here on the front. Now, the next thing, you want to make sure that you read on your PDF exactly how to do this. Okay, let me see. It's on the last page. Okay. Now, gorgeous lid. All right. Oops, no, I think it's not on the last page. It's the first page. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to grab your piece of coordinating DSP that you cut at 3 3/4 by 5 4 5/8, and you're going to cut the panel into 3 strips, each about 1 5/8 inches wide. So it's not exact, but it's pretty close. But let me show you how you can do that. You get your scoring tool. And what I did is I cut 1 5/8 inch off each end. All right, so here's 1. 5/8 is just 1/8 past the half. And I cut that. Then I turned the paper around, so I was cutting from the other end. And 1 5/8. So they're very, very close to being the same length. But if you want something that's not quite the same length, it will be the one that's in the middle. Okay? But no one's going to be able to tell. All right, so now I'm going to grab those strips and making sure that I put them on here in the right order. Let's see. Oh dear. It's a puzzle. Okay, that goes this way. Is that right? Nope, that's not right. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Oh dear. There we go. All right. So they're going to fit right on like that. All right. So you're going to take your and remember, you want to keep a nice, you want to keep a nice border around each of the panels. So you want Old Olive showing around all of your DSP panels. And then here's the last one. And that goes right there. So there you have your panels cut. So pretty. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and make my little embellishment here. I'm going to first use a strip of the basic white. Now in your packet, you should have both of these die cut out. If you didn't pick option 2, then you can find a sentiment in your stash that you can use there. All right, so I'm going to just use the sentiment from the Oval Occasions, and I'm going to stamp it on this basic white strip right there. Happy birthday. I'm going to grab my double oval punch, and I'm going to slide it in to the basic oval and punch that out. There's one piece. And then I'm going to grab a piece of scrap Highland Heather. Now you should already have this in your pouch, so you won't have to punch it out. But I'm going to go ahead and put that in on the scalloped edge side. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn over my basic oval. Glue it to my beautiful scalloped oval. And then I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And that's the basic card design. Very easy. There should be enough to make 4 of these cards, and you should have basic white pieces of cardstock to put on the inside as well. All right. Last thing for the front is you're going to bring in that fabulous pack of opal rounds that you got with your kit, and this is your chance to go ahead and bling your card up a bit. Remember, when I put bling on, I always like to put it in odd numbers, usually in 3s, and then I just make a triangle on the front of my card to give it a little bit of added bling. So there you have it. There is the card. Remember, you have enough to make 4 with envelopes that will fit in your box. So there you have it. There is the final tutorial for my project kit. I hope you enjoyed it. And please let me know your thoughts on the kit. And stay tuned for a new project kit in April. Thanks. Keep stamping.